Okay, like a lot of you guys have asked me about hydrodipping and everything. Well, the first thing you do is pick out your pattern, of course, which in this case, what I'm going to be using this evening is a skull pattern. So what I did is I trimmed it off of here, off of one piece. I kind of set me a template on here. Where did I put it here? This is actually a bottom, but it doesn't matter because the top and the bottom is going to be the same. So I picked me out where I wanted my skull pattern to be. It's easier if you put it on a white piece of paper. So I want my skull to be facing this way. So what I did is, and I want it to be about centered of my aircraft, so if I can keep my fan from blowing everything away. So I picked this skull here to be my center skull. So I kind of put that right toward the front of this drone shell. So when I flip it, the reverse side of which will be the top is where I want this set, is on the top. It'll be centered on that. So got that one set. So what I had to do is I had to trim a piece off of this side and a piece off of this side so that it will fit into my bucket when I get ready to dip it. I mean, because I'm using a small bucket. So I kind of got lucky because this is going to be for my top. So I put that off to the side. And you know, when I get ready to do this bottom piece, because it's so broken up, because you know your camera goes down here, and it's, you know, if you have obstacle avoidance, that goes down there, so a lot of that's covered up anyway. So if I overlap these two pieces that I trimmed off of either side of this, it kind of makes a pattern that I can use because it's skull. So if I lay this on top of it, I've still got skull patterns, you know, throughout the whole thing as I go through it. But anyway, that's just to keep from having to cut another piece when you've got scraps left over, because it's on a bottom. Now you wouldn't do that on a top because it would, the overlap would show really bad, but on a bottom it's not going to show. I'll show you when I do the demonstration. Out today with I'm going to do this Typhoon H shell, which I've already prepped and painted with a base coat, which, if you notice, it's a flat surface. It's not gloss, it's a real flat surface, which you need to start out with a flat surface. And I've attached a piece of tape on the bottom so that when I get ready to dip it, I have some room to be able to move it through the ink. With this one I don't have to do that because I can hold it like this without having to mess up the finish. Now there's several companies on the market that sell equipment to do hydro dipping. They're all equally, they all have their advantages and disadvantages. I find the most simplest one to use. I'm not sponsoring anybody or nobody sponsoring me. I'm just saying for my own personal use. mydipkit.com. That's mydipkit.com. mydipkit.com. Now they have about the most extensive variety of different patterns, basic application, and it comes in a one complete kit. And that's just a good starter. I mean, and now I've used several different companies, and they're all, like I say, they all have their advantages. So don't go with just one particular company, and don't go by mine. I'm just saying if you want to start somewhere, that's a good place to start. Okay, my next step will be showing you how the process. Now when I go into the other room where I'm going to do the prep at, make sure you use good ventilation, because you're going to be using an activator chemical. Now what happens is the film is a double-sided film. One side is water soluble and the other side is chemical soluble. So I'm going to place it in the water, which is warm water, 76 degrees or better, for approximately 60 seconds. And during that time, it gives it time for the water to absorb into the plastic where the ink is impregnated. Once it's impregnated into that 60 seconds, you spray the activator on the chemical soluble side, which is the side facing up, and give it a few seconds to activate, and you'll start to see it starting to separate. And at that time you want to go ahead and dip your part right through the surface of it's actually ink is what it is. It floats on the surface of the water. Once it breaks down all the plastics, you've just got a surface of ink with your pattern, and whatever your base coat is, you're going to put that base coat is going to adhere. You'll see once I get in the kitchen what I'm talking about, but it's a very simple process. You can do it easily at home. I'm just using a little bitty small tub. You know, of course, if you're using a bigger surface, you're going to need a bigger container, obviously. So, but I'm just using something that's easy to manage, and you can see I've used it several times for different projects. But okay, the next phase will be the actual doing it